Beth Long here for Fox Sports Next with Purple Wildcats. Chris, Emma, the Northwestern spring game just wrapped up here in Evanston, and we're up in the press box going to wrap up things for you about the spring. Today, the main storyline, the defense was dominant. What made them so dominant today?
Yeah, you said it. They're dominant. I mean, Tyler Scott used that word as well. I mean, they were fantastic out there. They got the biggest difference is they got a pass rush. When you get a pass rush on the quarterback, especially a mobile one like Kane Coulter, who was sacked 5 times, I mean, that changes everything. Then he's got to hurry a throw. He's got to make a quick decision that forces turnovers. It changes everything in the game. That's the biggest difference between this year and last year. They were getting a good pass rusher, but they'd be walled off. They couldn't get to the quarterback. If they can change that this year, this defense is going to be pretty good. Now, it's just an exhibition. You're going up against guys who are probably not going to be in the field at times there, but what you saw today was definitely encouraging. That was the biggest difference. You need that to continue into the summer and then into the season.
Who's your MVP today, both offensively and defensively?
Well, Trevor Siemian takes the award for the offensive side of the ball. He had 2 touchdowns, over 150 yards, which is pretty good when you're limited in reps out there. He really led the offense down the field, which, I mean, they scored the equivalency of 24 points out there if you're keeping track at home. But what he did, he was able to get them down the field. He was able to lead that whole unit, which, I mean, it's tough to do in these kind of situations. So he really stood out there. I guess offensive runner-up would be Cam Dickerson, who had a heck of a game. He really made some great plays out there. On the defensive side of the ball, I had co-MVPs. I couldn't decide between Chance Carter, who had the game-changing interception. It's always fun to watch a lineman run down the field, so he gets a little bit of a sentimental vote in addition. But also, you look at Deontay Gibson, who really stepped up, another young lineman. He played great out there. I believe he had 4.5 tackles. He had a couple of sacks. He looked great out there. So you look at those two guys, and like I talked about the defensive line, if you have those young guys stepping up who weren't there last year, who either were hurt or just weren't ready to play, it's a totally different line out there, and it's a totally different defense.
Something else that's totally different is the fact that there's a 6'5" wide receiver on the field named Kyle Prater, who's made his first public appearance in purple and white today here at the spring game. What was your opinion on him, even though he only had 2 catches?
Well, number one, I don't think he's 6'5". Watching him down there on the field, standing next to him, I'm 6'1", or, okay, that's generally listed. I'm about 6 foot maybe. He's not 6'5". He's huge out there. They said he's 6'5" barefoot. I mean, he might be 6'6" or even higher with those spikes on. He is, I mean, that's a prototypical receiver. You don't notice him until you see him in pads lining up against a cornerback who's undersized. Anybody's going to be undersized against him. That was really something to watch, and the matchup problems he's going to create. You didn't get a chance to see it today. He had 2 catches for 6 whole yards. I mean, it wasn't the breakout performance that Northwestern fans would have wanted, but I mean, it's a spring game. He's going to put up some big numbers this season. He's just it's such a difference maker in offense when you're a quarterback, especially when you got some young guys there like Zach Golliver and Trevor Siemian. When you can throw the ball toward a guy instead of to him, it completely changes the way you play on offense. So he is a total difference maker. And then you factor in all the other receivers there. This is one heck of a unit.
Your point about throwing the ball toward them and not actually, in the soft spot was a good point. One of Prater's 2 catches was basically reaching his very long wingspan arms out, tipping the ball back into himself and making a one-handed grab. So he certainly looks like he can catch a lot of stuff thrown his way.
Absolutely. I mean, that kid can do it all. He's got that size and those abilities where he can bring in any ball thrown near him. So it completely makes you a better quarterback, and he can make me a great quarterback out there.
Speaking of great quarterbacks, Northwestern also got news that they received potentially another great quarterback to follow in the footsteps of all the recent quarterbacks that have come through here in Northwestern now playing in the NFL. Matt Alviti, Maine South standout quarterback. I've seen him play a couple times. Kid is impressive. What is he going to bring to Northwestern?
Well, that's the big news. It's confirmed from his coach. He just informed me Matt Alviti is a Wildcat starting 2013. It's like you said, it continues on the lineage of quarterbacks here under Pat Fitzgerald. You had Brett Bazinet, C.J. Bechet, and Mike Kafka now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Dan Purser could be on an NFL roster. Kane Coulter's been pretty darn impressive. Matt Alviti's next. I mean, he's that next guy in line. He's probably going to, once Kane's done, it's going to be Alviti's team. I've heard secondhand from the coaches that they feel, or from sources through the coaches, they feel like this kid could really be, I mean, the next big thing. He's got that kind of arm. He could really be that kind of guy. I mean, they really feel that great about him. They offered him November 2010. I mean, that was, I believe he was 15 or something at the time, but they saw that potential. They saw that arm. arm. They feel like he could be that next guy, and they offered him right away there. So it's really a testament. They were after him right away. He lives 15 minutes down the road. That helps too. That's a big part of the decision. But it's official. He's a Wildcat, and everybody's feeling good about that. Northwestern fans are, and Pat Fitzgerald's got a little smile going today. So it's a happy day for Northwestern fans.
LV's potential is certainly really hard to miss. So Wildcat fans, if you haven't checked out his highlights, make sure you check Purple Wildcats. You can find them on there. He's an impressive signal caller specimen. And as Chris so eloquently said earlier, Matt is a cat.
Is a cat.
Make sure you stay on Purple Wildcats and Fox Sports Next for the latest.